Thank you, buddy. First thing that always comes to mind when I visit folks and friends at commencement time is those trees in the Forest of Oz. I'd turn back if I were you. But I guess it's too late for that. We'll make the best of it. This poem is called Survey. I am so lonely for the 20th century, for the deeply felt, obscene graffiti of armed men and the beautiful bridges that make them so small and carry them into the hearts of cities, written like words across nothing. The dense void history became in my beautiful century. When a man talks reason, he postpones something. He gets in the way of a machine that knows him for the sad vengeance he is, somewhere close to the bald name of his city. New York means strike back. Attica means strike back. And so does any place in the world, in the huge eyes and tender hands of my century. I went to the Capitol. I had a banner, and there were thousands of people like me. There was an airplane, and for a moment heavy with laurel and sprays of peach blossom, something that had never happened before stretched like a woman's shadow on a hedge between the plane and the people who saw it flying. It was the real name of the century. It told everyone to strike back until there was no reason in the world except a machine stalled overhead that knows everyone and is as delicate as peach blossom. But the 4 years, they come too late. I live in the Mojave Desert, about 20 miles west up from Las Vegas. And the sun is very, very simple in the desert, to the point where black and white are the same color, which turns out to be useful information. This poem's called My Mojave. Shadow, as of meteor at midday, it goes from there. A perfect circle falls onto white imperfections. Consider the black road, how it seems white the entire sunshine day. Or I could say shadows and mirage completing its changes with no change. In the morning after a storm, we used brooms. Out front, there was broken glass to collect. In the backyard, the sand was covered with transparent wings. The insects could not see them. Jealous lover, your desire passes the same way. And jealous earth, there is a shadow you cannot keep to yourself alone. At midday, my soul wants only to go the black road, which is the white road. I'm not needed like wings in a storm, and God is the storm. This gets us a little bit geographically closer to where we are. I wrote this in Vermont when it was snowing. It was kind of exciting for me. It's landscape with Tityrus in Vermont. Tityrus may be one of your favorite characters from Virgil's Éclose. But if you have a different favorite, don't hold it against me. I like them all pretty well. Is the shearing done? Was it done well? I remember the hillsides as being real workplaces for gathering wool from off the weeds. Exactly the same are beautiful waitresses lounging in their dignity for want of trade in terrible Chinese restaurants. I mean, beauty is a discard of our too late labor now. So, lately, many have settled in the remote places, Umbria, Vermont, or any place the blankets tear at our skin because the wool is coarse. And the news, when it reaches us, then starves at the doorstep. War starves. Word of corruption starves. And even things near to the heart. My old dog, dead and burned and in a box beside my unopened mail. Starve. On the hillsides over there, in the woolly November snow, cow mounts cow. Ewe mounts ewe. News of the American empire blows into drifts against broken fences. Io, I remember, was a cow, and her father a river. Corruption in heaven made such cow. If Andrew Marvell had had a typewriter, if William Blake had had a cassette recorder, if Walt Whitman had had a brace of healthy sons, how the hillsides over there would melt and shine. Nevertheless, today, an exceptional pine tree, even in November, did actually burst into berry red root and branch. Unprecedented things are massing at the edge of eyesight. Their technology makes holiday and fresh hills and strong new fires for new gathering. A while ago, the doorbell rang very early, and it was the sheriff. Just come to tell us that they changed the name of our town from Arden to Paradise. I guess that's important to find out with armed men. But the nearest actual town to my patch of ground is a little town called Blue Diamond. Until I got to know Blue Diamond, I've always had a hard time enjoying the 4th of July. But in Blue Diamond, it's no trouble at all. This is definitely the center of nowhere, and all the stars shine down. And the only thing they do is a fellow from the fire department who can play the trumpet plays the Star Spangled Banner, and it's a good 4th of July. July 4th, Blue Diamond. It is impossible not to suffer agonies of attachment. The world is really so wonderful. The mountain stain of the grass deepens. The solar trumpeter, his anthem ended, falls forward, weeping into a woman's arms. The notes are eternal. Many stars shine down through the Roman candles more brightly because of his tears. That's a good 4th of July. This poem is called Zion, which means Utah. I know there are other places where it carries different bump, but in Paradise, formerly known as Arden, it passes as Zion. And I wrote this poem in flight from a conference I was meant to address at a resort. So it worked out. Zion. Suddenly, copper roses glow on the deadwood. I am these because I see them, and also see abolition, the white smock on a girl eating an apple, looking down into the valley, a small train steaming there. I go to the uplands to join death, and death welcomes me, shows me a trailhead, foot tracks overfilled with standing water. Man has never owned another man here. The glow in the shade hang apples free for the taking. I'm saying that death is a little girl. The apple there in her hand is God Almighty, where the skin breaks to her teeth and spills my freedom all over sunlight, turning deadwood coppery rose. This last poem is called Vietnam Epic Treatment. I guess I started at an anti-war march in the first poem, and that's what happens. You find yourself back at the same march, decade after decade. Vietnam Epic Treatment. It doesn't matter a damn what's playing. In the dead of winter, you go. Days of 1978, 79, and we went because the soldiers were beautiful and doomed as Asian jungles kept afire Christ-like in the hopeless war I did not go to in the end because it ended. The 20th century, it was a war between peasants on the one side, hallucinations on the other. A peasant is a fire that burns but is not consumed. His movie never ends. It will be beautiful every winter of our lives, my love, as Christ crushes fire into his wounds, and the wounds are a jungle. Equally, no matter when their movies end, hallucinations destroy the destroyers. That's all. There's never been a president of the United States. And the 21st century, hallucination versus hallucination, in cold battle, in dubious battle, no battle at all, because the peasants have gone away far into the lost traveler's dream, into a passage from Pullman, a woodcutter's hillside, peacetime superstition movie. On a cold night, Hector. On a cold night, Achilles. Around the savage and the maniac, the woodcutter draws a ring of fire. It burns all winter long. He never tires of it, and for good reason. Every face of the flames is doomed and beautiful. Every spark that shoots out into the freezing air is God's truth, given us all over again in the bitter weather of men's hallucinations. There has never been a president of the United States. There has never been a just war. There has never been any life beyond this circle of firelight until now. But now is no dream, but an Asia. Thank you very much.